Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Lewis Glover for Combat Sports UK here with UFC lightweight Chris Duncan. How are you, man? Thanks for joining me.
No problem, mate. Anytime.
Everything going okay with training? What was your day looking like today?
So this morning, it's kind of a light day for me. So we did the kickboxing class, more technique kind of based. And then I went for a 5-mile run after that. And then tonight at 6 p.m, I'll do some boxing pads with one of the coaches here, Ivan. And then we've got sparring tomorrow. So kind of a lighter day today compared to what it usually is. But weight's on point. Feeling fucking good, feeling really fit, feeling really strong. Loads in the gas tank, loads left in the gas tank. I think that's the biggest thing this time around is like I'm not going to war with all my training partners and I'm not leaving it all out on the mat, So it's been a good camp.
Is that something that you picked up on from previous experiences that you gave too much of yourself in camp and maybe weren't feeling 100% going into the fights, or is that just a something because your fitness is getting better, you're training full time now, you feel like you've got more to give?
I think it's just like trial and error. A lot of the guys I've been in my year, like a lot of the top 10 lightweights that are here, are saying, Chris, you're training a little bit too hard, mate. You don't need to do that. And I can see where they're coming from. But they can also see where I'm coming from as well, that I'm trying to maximise the opportunity that I have here. So, but it's not like this is going to disappear. This is always going to be here for me from going forward. So, so it's just all a trial and error period. And I think the next camp will be different again. So I'm just looking forward to showcasing what I've learned this time.
I'm very curious how you settled on ATT, because over in America, you've got so many amazing gyms to choose from. Even in Florida, there's so many great gyms out there. Was it a relationship you had with someone, or how was it it came to be that you're training at ATT for this fight? And I think previously as well.
My training partner, Robert Whiteford, has always trained here. And, he said nothing but good things. So I got a little bit of a trial period. I came over. I didn't get to stay in the dorms. I had to get an Airbnb in 2019, and then immediately gelled with a lot of the guys here. So then the next time when I contacted ATT, they offered their services to me in the dorms, which is kind of like the trial and error period was over, and they said that they can welcome me into the team if you like. So yeah, this is going to be it for the rest of my days now.
That's awesome. What are the dorms like? Are they you got your creature comforts?
like a prison.
got to keep that war mentality. We can't have any getting too comfortable in training camp, I guess.
I don't even have a sheet on my bed. I'm just lying in my bed right now, just chilling out with the aircon on, and it's just hardcore. But I think the more I come here, the more stuff I buy, the more stuff I can leave.
Yep.
As the days goes on, like the next time, I think I'm going to have to get a bed sheet, because what happens is they change your bed every Thursday for you. So like they just changed the whole bed sheet, the whole thing. So I think they just throw this one in the wash and give you a new one. So I think that's the kind of thought process. There's no point washing this and washing the sheet. So I think I'm just going to try and keep my own sheet for next time.
Get down to Target, get yourself kitted out with a nice personalized bedspread. You'll be feeling right at home in no time.
Yeah.
How have you sort of settled into the gym with all of your training partners? Who are you training with, and what are you feeling like you're learning a lot from all the people that you've got the opportunity to train with, because there's some world-class talent in that gym?
Yeah, so I've managed to. My main training partners for this camp has been Grant Dawson, Rausch, the guy that won the £1 million on the PFL.
Yep.
I've also been doing a little bit I did a couple of rounds with George Masvidal, some grappling rounds with him. I trained, which was an absolute honour. Was I trained with Yaroslav, the welterweight world champion, the Bellator champ.
Mm-hmm.
I've trained with everybody, you name it, man. I'm in with the top dogs over here, so just don't blink. That's all I'm going to say.
That's awesome. Certainly, certainly looking forward to it. So let's talk about your UFC debut that we've got coming up at UFC 286 in London, in front of a home crowd. Excited probably is an understatement. Maybe the words don't exist in the English language to sum up how you're feeling. But if you can you let us know what's going through your mind? How are you feeling about this whole situation, making your debut?
Feels comfortable, man. I just need to make sure that the nerves don't get to me, and that's just a process that I have to go through. Yeah, I do it every camp, you know. As you've seen, I don't know if you've watched any of my fights before, but my performances speak for themselves. You know, I'm just as nervous as I was for my first amateur fight as I am for my professional debut. But it's the thought process and the calming of the body and making sure I'm doing things right, and like you learn from your mistakes. You know, I got hit too much in my last Contender Series fight just because I went out the gate like fucking like a ravaged dog, which I shouldn't have. But hey, we live and we learn. I'm going to give myself 30 seconds to fuck about a little bit when I'm in there and gauge my distance and control the distance and go on my terms. So, like the training's done, man. The fight's already won in my eyes. You know, like I've done everything in my power. There's not a single thing I could not have fucking done here, like to make sure that I'm going to get the next best thing. Like I've done everything I possibly can. I've spoke to the best coaches. I've worked with the best coaches. I've trained so fucking hard. Like it's like it feels like an 80-20 on my side. You know, like I just need to show up now. Like the work's done. You know.
Yeah, awesome. Do you feel like the home crowd is going to be a significant factor as well? Have you got a lot of support coming down to London for the event?
Yeah, I think I'll have about maybe 100. I would say 100. Maybe that's a bit advantageous, but there's certainly a few people coming, and then they're always going to cheer for the homeboy, you know. So yeah. Get my kilt on, get my face paint on, it would be good to go.
Well, if it's anything like the last two events in London, I had the privilege of attending both of them. You're going to have plenty of support inside the O2 come fight night. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said you've put all of this work in and you're feeling extremely confident. I saw in another interview you gave, it might have been for the All-Star, apologies if I've gotten that wrong, but you said that you've really only been able to train full time and dedicate yourself to this game 100% in your last fight and this one. So are you able to see the sort of the improvements in your game, and how much do you feel you've improved by being able to solely dedicate yourself to training full time as a professional?
Yeah, the last two times I've been able to come over here, last time was 8 weeks, this time was 10 weeks. So I've really focused on training itself. You know, that's going to have to be it going forward. It's not just the like training. Like training's like a minimal part of it. Like the training's like what everybody does. It's the shit on top of that, like the sleeping, the recovery, the food. Like I don't know if you've got any children, but like when I'm back home and I'm feeding my child and she doesn't eat her sausage and mash, I eat the sausage and mash after. You know? So like you just can't do that when you're in camp. So I've taken like as much as this looks like fucking a bomb shelter, you know, like this is the trenches. This is where champions are made. This is where all the champions have been at one stage in their career. So it's a necessary process. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. And I'm sure it really helps being around people who are all of the same mindset, that same champion mentality. Everyone's making the sacrifice. Everyone's spending time away from their loved ones and their family, making those sacrifices to achieve their goals. So yeah, I can appreciate what you're saying. It's more than just the training. It's everything else that goes alongside with it. Now you're in the UFC. You also have access to facilities like the UFC PI. Have you been able to take advantage of that much? And if so, what have your experiences been like at that place?
At the PI, it was great. You know, I managed to go in and do some sessions, see fucking all my heroes, which was mad, and meeting all these people and UFC fighters. You know, I've the big advocate, you know, you see all these people moaning about in fact, you don't even hear that many UFC fighters moaning about their pay. It's mainly these fucking boxers and YouTubers and all that shit. So, like, see, at the end of the day here, you know, I've arrived in American Top Team, and my manager messaged me and said, you know, that you need to contact the PI, and they will kit you out with supplements. So I've got free range of supplements that I've had 10 weeks of, and I'm allowed unlimited supply. So if I ask for an order of 16 bags of protein, they would send me it out. I'm shitting you not, like, they just send it. Also, I get 24 meals a week through a meal prep company called Icon Meals, which has probably saved me about $3,500 on food. You know, and imagine, right, so I get 3 fights or 4 fights a year, and I get 24 meals at $300, and then and like, that's millions of pounds a year. Like, you don't see boxers like getting meal prep from like their company, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, the only downfall to that is you need to be in the US for that, but you know, you can make those moves. Like, and when you're here, they advocate that you go to the PI when you're in America and stock up on supplements and then go home. So, like, listen, they all moan about this fighter pay, and well, the UFC fighters don't, but you know, there's this kind of the dark horse that everybody talks about, fighter pay. Like, super happy to be involved with the UFC, and they've given me so many opportunities so far that I'm going to be like lifelong grateful for.
That's really interesting. And of course, yeah, it's an extremely, let's say, hot button topic. You can't get on social media any time of the day without seeing someone somewhere write an article, do a blog, do a podcast about it or whatever. But it's really interesting to hear sort of all of the things that come along with being in the UFC, more than just your purse on fight night. So it's awesome to see those opportunities. I've always wondered why more UFC fighters don't take the opportunity to get over to America for camps to be able to access these kind of stuff. And of course, not everyone is in the position to be able to do that for various reasons. But hopefully, with the continued growth of the UFC, more performance institutes pop up around the world. I know they want to open one in Mexico and so on and so forth. So, you know, more and more fighters are able to get those opportunities. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about your opponent for your upcoming fight. Omar Morales, UFC veteran, obviously a change in opponent with Figlag having to withdraw with his knee injury. What do you know about him? What do you expect to bring? And how do you feel like you match up with him?
I feel better absolutely everywhere. The biggest mistakes that I've made in my fights have been on me, on my personal growth. So I need to go out there and make sure that I'm on par the best Chris Duncan I've ever been. You know, like, I've got crazy power. I can grapple. I've got skills. I just need to mix it up, and go out there and show them that I'm supposed to be on this roster. Like, I know this, like, without like trying to be like, I'm not that guy. I'm not a nasty guy, and you know, he's 3-3 now, 3-3 in the UFC. I think had a couple of bad knockouts. He's got some holes in his game that needs to be fixed, and it's clear to me from watching his tape back that he definitely has. So I know exactly what I'm going to do. I've got a game plan, but if it comes to it, I've always got plan B, C, D, and E. So he's in for a long night, put it that way.
or even, you know, could be a short night if things go really well.
Well, a short night still means a long night because he's got to go to the hospital.
That's true. That's true. That's very, very true. I'd love to, if we can, quickly talk about your path to the UFC. I think everyone knows you came up through Dana White Contender Series, but you know, it wasn't at the first time of asking. You got caught against Borchev, but man, that fight was that first fight you had was an absolute banger. It's exactly what the show's looking for. You know, that's when Dana White comes out and says, "Be like Joe Pyfer." That's the key. You know, those entertaining fights. That's what they're looking for. So, did they keep in touch with your management? Did you know that it was like, okay, I go away, get one more win, and they'll be calling me back? What was that? What was that relationship in between your two Contender Series fights like?
So the first Contender Series fight, I don't know if everybody knows, but I've told the story countless times, but I think it's part of the journey. On the Monday, I was meant to fight Manuel Gadsa, and that guy pulled out. He pulled out, and I had no opponent for the Tuesday. The guy said he had a stomach issue. There was nothing wrong with the guy. The UFC offered to take him to the hospital, and he refused. So what happened was Sean Shelby and Dana White had said to me, "Get ready for Friday. We're going to sign you to the UFC, and we're going to allow you to fight on Saturday." So I cut my weight on Monday, and then began to cut weight again for the Saturday. So just to give you kind of a rough idea, I went from 156, so 156 pounds, all the way up to 183 pounds, all the way back down to about 160 pounds through water loading and manipulating my diet to then get ready to go and cut weight, or 165 I was, to go and cut weight again. So that didn't happen. And then my manager phoned me and says, "Right, Chris, we can't get you a fight for Saturday. We're really sorry. We're going to send you home tomorrow." And I said, "Okay, so I can go and eat some food?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So where did I go? I went to In-N-Out Burger. I got food, I got sweets, I got crisps. And then I was waiting for a phone call in the morning from my manager for my flight. I phoned my girlfriend who just had a baby. We had a baby. She would have been 6 months old. And I was only supposed to be away for 10 days at most. And I ended up being away for a month because then Sean Shelby says, "We've got you a fight again, Contender Series, another 10 days. So I was over there for nearly a month, cutting weight, doing this. And then going into the fight with Slava, I just put it all on the line. I thought, fuck it, this guy can't beat me. And just a little bit of ego got in the way, to be totally honest with you. I tried to stand too much and just was reckless. It was like a reckless abandonment. I just wanted to go out there and just fight him to the death. And I got caught, and I'm very happy that I got caught. It's part of the journey. And I realised that I'm not fucking made of like rock. I can be broken. So that was part and parcel of like why I'm so grateful of it. Then after the loss, Sean Shelby and Dana White both personally came out and thanked me for the fight, firstly, and also for putting my body on the line as much as I did over the last 3 weeks to make the weight. So that as a whole got me my second opportunity. So Sean Shelby said to me, and so did Dana White, they said, "Listen, young man," he's like, "we're really impressed. Go away, get another win, and we're going to have you back." So what happened was I signed the Cage Warriors. They couldn't get me a fight quick enough, so I had a fight out of their contract. And then my manager obviously beat the fuck out of this guy. And then my manager then made a cropped video and sent it to Sean. And then the next day I had a Contender Series fight for August 2nd. So a bit of a long-winded story that, but I feel people need to know that what I done in the first instance was, fuck it, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done physically. I've done a lot more things mentally challenging, but like that, like I was waking up in the middle of the night with insomnia, just because I wasn't eating the correct amount of food. I was water loading. I cut the weight. When I cut weight the third time, I started to stop sweating. So like my body went into shock. I managed to get around that. When I arrived home, I pissed kidney stones because I put my body through so much shit. So part and parcel of the game, I've learned and lived from it. So looking forward to showing everybody what one weight cut does in 10 weeks of preparation.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty much the worst possible preparation you could ask for going into a fight. So yeah, it's great. You got that second opportunity. You certainly showed out. Dana White said two things to Laura Sanko afterwards. He said, "This guy was a 2-1 dog, and wow, get over here, man. You're in the UFC." What did that feel like, man?
Say it again.
Get over here, man. You're in the UFC. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was good, man. It was like a dream come true. It's pretty emotional after it because, like, you know yourself, like everybody has their doubts, and I'm not going to hide anything. I'm the most plain sailing guy. I was in the back, thinking if I lose this fight, I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board, go back to work, blah blah blah, do this, do that. So there's always that doubt. I was always scared, but that also gives you that fight and that dog in you that pulls you through. So if anybody is watching this interview and you thinks they've got a bad mindset, like I had, like everybody has these intrusive thoughts. So it's important to have these because it keeps you sharp and it like gets that adrenaline going and pulls out the thunder from your arse if you like.
Yeah, that's awesome. And absolutely, if you can get through those dark places mentally, you can come out the sides certainly better from it. Chris, I want to thank you. You've been very generous with your time. I think we'll wrap up very shortly, and I'll let you get back to your day. I just want to fire a few rapid fire questions at you for people to get to know you just a little bit better. So tell us, what's your favorite food to eat after the fight is done? What are you going to be spoiling yourself with come Saturday night?
Probably the quick and easy things. Usually pizza on the night, but like I'm a sly dog. As soon as the fight's finished, I'm looking for sweets and chocolate. So yeah, the most important thing I'm looking to sit down with my family and just have a meal. I don't care what it is.
Don't care what it. Yeah.
It could be McDonald's. It could be Burger King. I just want to be home with my family and enjoy the company. I've been alone. I've got friends here, but I've been alone. I'm just looking forward to having that company again.
That makes 100% sense. What's a favorite TV show of yours that you're watching right now? If you are watching any, I don't know what the tech setup is in the bomb shelter there.
UFC Fight Pass.
Fair enough. There's a lot of good stuff on UFC Fight Pass. So that's yeah. Fair enough.
I watch. The only thing I really watch is my phone, and I'm watching best food reviews. It's this American guy that was on Joe Rogan, so I'm torturing myself.
I was gonna say, what are you doing, man? Are you trying to maintain your weight? That must be just another part of the mental strength training, I guess. All right. Who was your favorite fighter growing up? You talked about meeting some legends, guys you looked up to. Was there one guy that you were like, this is the guy, man?
Donald Cerrone, he's the guy. Obviously inactive now, so my second favourite fighter is now Justin Gaethje, which is on the same card as me, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to try and obviously now that I'm in the UFC, I'm going to try and meet up with Donald Cerrone and see if I can get to his ranch at some point. That would be so cool.
That would be. I can only imagine the chaos that goes on in that ranch. And then last question, got to ask you for your pick. Main event, UFC 286, Leon or Kamaru. Who's getting it done? Who's walking away with the hardware?
I want Leon Edwards to win because obviously he's from the UK. But I think, unfortunately, because Usman has lost in the past to him now, I think he's going to make it a boring fight. He's going to press him up against the fence. He's going to shoot. He's going to make it into a hard fight to win. So let's go Leon. I want Leon to win.
All right, nice one. Chris, this has been awesome. I'll just give you a second now if you want to shout out any of your sponsors, shout out anyone in particular. The floor is yours. Yeah,
of course I want to shout out all my sponsors, but I've had a couple of guys jump on board that have been a little bit extra special. I've got my good friend Graham Beveridge from RG Autotech. I've got Prime Secure, Robert Dempster. He's been a massive help. He's just a recent sponsor, but he's became a good friend in the process, which is like that's all you ask for as a fighter. And also I've got Crypto Glasgow. They've really put themselves forward this time and helped me out. So those three are the main ones for this camp. But I've also got a lot of sponsors on board that do their bit. And just because I haven't mentioned them today doesn't mean that I'm not appreciative of them. I just want to give these guys a little bit of a shout out today.
Makes sense. Chris, thank you so much for your time. It's really appreciated. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck. I'll be there in London. Really looking forward to the fight. So best of luck and enjoy. Done.
You're due me a pint.
That's fair. I can absolutely make that happen. Thank you very much, Chris. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate. Take care.
Thanks, bro. Speak